Good morning, everybody. Pastor Joseph here with your daily spirit lift. We are talking with how you can nurture your spirit in this modern world. One of the things I want to talk to you about is how our spirits are faultily beaten down by this modern world. And there's probably a lot of reasons for this, but I'm just going to highlight one in this talk. Maybe in future ones I'll get to some other things. But when I was in college, I didn't have internet. I didn't have cable TV. And one of the things that I used to love to do on a Sunday was I would walk down to a place where I could buy the newspaper, and I would buy the Sunday edition of the newspaper. And the Sunday edition is the one that's full of all the book reviews, movie reviews, arts and culture, that kind of stuff. That's why I would do it on a Sunday. And I would take that home with me, and then I would read it Sunday afternoon. I would spend some time leisurely, and I would dip into it throughout the week. And that's how I got my news, pretty much. Now, this is in the days before the 24-hour news cycle, CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, and all that kind of stuff. And if you're of a certain age, you remember that when you got the news, if you were watching television, it was 6 o'clock local news, 6:30 was the national news, and then if you missed it, you had to wait until 11 o'clock to get the news again. This 24-hour news cycle, and our politicians have learned this, now everything thrives on outrage. Facebook knows this, the news cycles know this, that you will be more engaged the more angry you are, the more upset you are, the more agitated you get. When something goes just perfectly swimmingly, you're not likely to engage in it for a long period of time. So it's not it's not unintentional that you hear things about, well, the president did this, and aren't you outraged? And the former president did this and said this, and aren't you outraged? And there's a terrible disaster somewhere around the world. We used to hear about these things, but we heard about them in a different way, and we didn't have this constant drinking out of the fire hose kind of thing. So I'm going on a fast for my spirit for the rest of the summer, I've decided. The rest of the summer, I'm only going to consume news between 6 and 7 and 11 to 11:30 if I'm up that late. And that's it. That's the only news that I'm going to get. And that's it. And the idea is going to be, I'm going to fast from, and you have to be careful about this because with the 24-hour news cycle, it's Facebook. People support news on that, and share news stories on that. But it's also Reddit. It's also TikTok. I mean, news sort of slips in. You go to TikTok and Reddit right now. There's all the news about the horrible submarine issue near the Titanic, and that's news as well. So I'm going to slow down and try and consume my news in a more responsible way. Why? For my spirit. If there's something that needs to catch my attention spiritually, a refugee crisis, a particular news story about the environmental crisis, about something that is really of import, I'll hear about it. And I may even, cut even more time out. I may find out that I don't need that 6 to 7 or 11 to 11:30 kind of thing for my spirit. Maybe I'll go back to my practice in high school or college rather, and get my news from the newspaper and consume that even more slowly. One of the things about reading the newspaper back then was you also educated yourself. There were books reviewed, and I learned a lot about new books and artwork and all sorts of fascinating articles about culture and music that I don't do as much anymore because news is just strictly outrage news. They used to say in journalism, if it bleeds, it leads. Well, it's even worse now. 24 hours, you can stay up 24 hours and never be outside of your bubble of outrage news. And that's a frightening thing. And think of what that does to your spirit. We know that what you consume does have an effect on how you view the world. And so, is it any wonder that we are more fearful of each other? Is it any wonder that we are more concerned and upset and outraged by things than maybe we were 20 or 30 years ago? So I'm going to take a fast, and I encourage you to do the same for your spirit. This is something, and then I'm going to report back to you how it goes. So I'm holding you to this. Watch me. Labor Day, I'll get back to you and tell you how the fast went, and we'll see what my discoveries are. All right. Blessings to you. If you want to join me in the fast, let me know, because I'll report back your discoveries as well. All right. Blessings to y'all. Love y'all or miss y'all. We'll talk soon.